Hi, welcome to the reading session. Today I'm going to read about parallax. I hope I pronounce it right. Yeah, the lighting condition is not good today, but anyway, it was not good other day also. Never mind. Okay, today I'm going to read about this parallax. This is the Wikipedia page for parallax. I had saved in the bookmark because I didn't know what it means, and I don't know where I got it, but it is related to the computer vision thing that I was looking into in some GitHub, but I don't know exactly how it is related. Let's uh, read it. Okay, parallax. Parallax is a displacement or a difference in the apparent position of the object viewed along the two different lines of sight, and is measured by the angle or half angle of inclination between these two lines. Due to the foreshortening, means linear or point projection perspective is one or of two type of graphical projection perspective in graphical arts. The other is parallel perspective. Okay, due to the foreshortening nearby object, so larger parallax than the farther object, so parallax can be used to determine the distances. To measure large distances such as the distance of the planet or a star from the Earth, astronomers use the principle of parallax. Here, the term parallax is semi-angle inclination between the two lines of sight to the star, as observed when Earth is opposite side of the Sun in the orbit. The distances from the lowest rung of what is called the cosmic distance ladder, the first in succession of method by which astronomers determine the distance to the celestial objects, serving as the basis for other distance measurement in the astronomy, forming the higher rungs of the ladder. Here is the simple illustration, I think. A simple illustration of parallax of the object against the distance background due to the perspective shift. When viewed from the point between A, the object appears to be in front of the blue square. When the viewpoint is changed to viewpoint B, the object appears to have moved in front of the red square. It is a perspective on how when the same object which is in the same distance is looking from the different viewpoint, the conclusion is different, and we kind of use it as to determine the distance between the observer and the object. I think that is it. I don't know. Let's read it. Because parallax is the weak if the triangle formed with the object under observation and to observation has the angle much greater than 90 degree, the use of parallax for distance measurement is usually restricted to the objects that are directly faced by the baseline, the line between the two observation points of the formed triangles. Parallax also affect the optical instruments such as rifle scope, binocular, microscope, twin twin lens reflex camera that view object from the slightly different angle. Many animals along with the humans have two eyes with overlapping visual fields that use parallax to gain the depth perception. This process is known as stereo stereopsis. In the computer vision, the effect is used for the computer stereo vision, that is a device called parallax rangefinder that uses it to find the range, and in some variation also altitude to the target. A simple everyday example of parallax can be dashboard of the dashboard of motor vehicles that use the needle style mechanical speedometer. When viewed from directly in front, the speed may show exactly 60, but when viewed from the passenger seat, the needle may appear to show a slightly different speed due to the angle of viewing combined with the displacement of the needle from the plane of numerical dial. Okay, what is here given example? This example is the example of parallax. As the viewpoint moves to the side, the object in the distance appears to be move slowly, then the closer to the camera. In these cases, the white cube in front moves faster than the green cube in the middle of the far background. Yeah, white cube may faster, it's moving faster than the uh, uh, object behind that green object behind it. Okay, visual perception. Because the human sorry the because the eyes of human and the other animal are different, are in different position of the head, they present different views simultaneously. This is the basis of stereopsis, the process by which the brain exploits the parallax due to the different views from the eye to get depth perception. How far is object from observer to the real object, to gain the depth of perception and estimate the distance to the object. Some animals also use motion parallax, in which the animal or just its head moves to gain the different viewpoint. For example, pigeons, whose eyes do not have overlapping field of view, thus cannot use stereopsis, bob their head up and down to see the depth. Motion parallax is exploited in weakly stereoscopy, the computer graphics that provide the depth cues through the viewpoint shifting animation rather than the binocular vision. Distance measurement. Parallax arises due to the change in the viewpoint occurring due to the motion of the observer and of the object, or both. What is essential is a relative motion. By observing the parallax, measuring the angles, and using the geometry, one can determine the distance. Distance measurement by the parallax is special cases of the principle of the triangulation, which states if one side length and two angle of the triangle are known, then rest side length and angle can be solved. That is, information of the triangle is fully determined. Thus, the careful measurement of length of baseline and the two angles at the baseline can fix the scale of entire triangulation network. I think distance measure it is in trigonometry, using trigonometry. I think it can be used. I don't know for sure. Okay. In astronomy, triangle is extremely long and narrow. By measuring both its shortest side, the motion of the observer, and the small top angle, always less than 1 arc second, leaving the other too close to 90 degree, the length of long distance in practice considered to be equal can be determined. The distance d from the sun to the star, measured in parsecs, is the reciprocal of the parallax, measured in arsec. D parsec means 1 by p arsec. For example, distance between from the sun to the Proxima Centauri is the nearest star to the Earth after Sun, located 4.25 light year. Is 1 divided by 0.67687 is equals to 1.3009 parsecs. That is 4.243 light year. And the celestial object that which distance is twice this star has a parallax 0.6505. On the Earth, the coincidence rangefinder or parallax rangefinder can be used to find the distance to the target. In solving the problem of resection, explore the angular measurement from known baseline for determining the unknown point coordinate. Here is the parallax theory for finding the naval distance. Once the triangular baseline L and the two angles at the both sides of the baseline are known, all the information of the triangle are determined, so the distance from the baseline of the to the naval object can be determined. This angle is known and this is known. Two angle is known, right angle and this theta, and the distance between the observer is known L. We can determine the it is saying that, I hope. Astronomy. In astronomy, parallax is the apparent shift in the position of the nearby celestial object related to the distant background object, which is caused by a change in observer point of view. This effect is mostly common due to the commonly this effect is most commonly used to measure the distance to the nearby star from the two different positions of the Earth orbital cycle, usually 6 months apart. By measuring the parallax angles, the measure of the change in star position from one point of the measurement to the another, the astronomers can use the trigonometry to calculate how far the star is. The concept hinges on the geometry of the triangle formed between the Earth at the two different points in its orbit at the end and a star at the other. The parallax angle is half the angle formed at the star between those two lines of sight. The closer the star to the observer, the larger the angle will be. Parallax is the foundational model sorry Parallax is the foundation method in the cosmic distance ladder, a series of techniques astronomers use to determine the distances in the universe. While parallax is only effective at measuring the distance of the nearby stars, space telescopes like Gaia have significantly expanded its effectiveness. The parallax remains the most direct and reliable method for measuring the stellar distance, forming the basis for calibrating more indirect method to measure the distance to the galaxy and beyond. Met what is meteorology? Measurement made by viewing the position of some kind of marker related to something to measure are the subject to the error caused by parallax. If the marker are some distance away from the object under the measurement and not viewed from the correct position or angle, the example is reading the position of the pointer against the scale in an instrument such as analog multimeter is shown in right figure. The same effect alters the speed read on the car speedometer by the driver in front of it and a passenger off the side. Values read from the reticule, not the actual value with the display on the oscilloscope. To help the user avoid the problem, the scale is sometimes printed out about the narrow strip of the mirror, and the user eye is positioned so that the pointer obscures its reflection, guaranteeing that the user line of sight is perpendicular to the mirror, therefore to the scale. Here is the illustration. The view line on the left represents the observer by drawing the straight line out to the star right from the different position and measuring the angle between the two alpha. Astronomer can measure the distance between the Earth and light here. And the correct line of sight is required to avoid the parallax error, where the different line of sight gives the different reading from the same measurement. Here is the tip of pointer, and when here look it here, it gives the 4.5, and when it is look from this point of line of sight, it is 3.25. Main photogrammetry, I think I pronounced it right. When viewed through the stereo viewer, the aerial picture appears offers the pronounced stereo effect of the landscape and building. High building appears to be kneel over in the direction away from the center of the photograph. Measurement of this parallax are used to deduce the height of the building, provided that the flying height and baseline distance are well known. This key is component of the process of the photogrammetry. Photography. Parallax error can be seen when taking the photo with many types of cameras such as twin lens reflex camera, and those including the viewfinder such as rays finder camera. In such camera, the eye sees the object through the different optics, the viewfinder or second lens. Then the one through the which photo is taken. As the viewfinder is often found above the lens of the camera, the photos with the parallax are often slightly lower than the intent. The classic example of the image uh, example being the image of the person with the head cropped off. This example is addressed in single lens reflex camera, in which the viewfinder sees through the same lens through which the photo is taken, the aid of the movable mirror, thus avoiding the parallax error. Parallax is also issue in image snitching. I'm sorry, image stitching, such as paranomas. Oh, that means it was mostly problem in the traditional camera, because for viewing the picture and when taking the picture, there are two lenses were used. I think that is it. In modern cameras, this problem is almost non-existence, as for as per as I know. I don't know more about that. Okay. Cortex third rangefinder camera with macro photography setting, because the viewfinder is on the top of the lens and near the subject. Google's goggles are fitted in front of the rangefinder, and a dedicated viewfinder is installed on to compensate for the cap parallax. Fail panoramic image, since the axis of the rotation and tripod is not at the same point. Okay, I think, oh, it is small. Yeah, you can see the blurriness of the motion in the picture if you look it, but I think it very difficult to see. Mm. Okay, this is two towers present. Is to what which tower is, or is lighthouse or tower, I don't know, is present here. It is giving the effect of the blurring motion, like they are in two different field of view. Weapon sight. Parallax affects the sighting device of the range weapons in many ways. On sight fitted on the small arm and bows, etc. The perpendicular, the distance between the sight and the weapon launch axis, the bore axis of the gun, generally referred to as the slide head, can induce the significant aiming errors when shooting at the close range, particularly when shooting at the small target. This parallax error is compensated for when needed via the calculation that takes in the variables such as the bullet drop, wind age, the distance at the which the target is expected to be. Slight distance can be used to advantage on sighting in the rifle for field use. A typical hunting rifle .222 with telescopic sight sighted at 75 meter will be useful from 50 to 200 meter, or 55 to 219 yard, without needing the further adjustment. Okay, here is the effect of the parallax in the moving eyes when looking through the lens of the gun. Yeah, lens of the gun. Yeah, yeah. When this is moved, and it moves along with the, there is no parallax compensation, but there is a parallax compensation here to get the to aim at the right at chest. Okay, I don't know how they do it, but they do it using the mathematics and using the slight intuition, the formula, and the theory behind this parallax. Optical sight. In some ray declined optical instruments such as telescopes, microscope, or telescopic sights used on the small arms or theodolites, parallax can create the problem when reticile or image is not coincident with the image plane of the target. This is because when the reticile and the target are not at the same focus, their optically corresponded distance being projected through the eyepiece are also different, and the user eye will register the different distance in the parallax between the vertical and the target image. Wherever the eye position changes as the small lateral displacement on the top of each other, the term parallax shift refers to the apparent change resultant apparent floating movement and the rest style over the target image when the user moves his eyes head laterally up and down behind the sight. Oh, that means it is not the lens is not changing, but position of the eye watching the target is being changed due to the parallax effect. The it moves along with the changes in the eye, but it is compensated by the parallax. Okay, some firearm scopes are equipped with the parallax compensation mechanism, which consists of the movable optical element that enables the optical system to shift the focus of the target images at varying distance in the same optical plane of the recital or vice versa. Many low tier telescopes sites may have no parallax compensation because in practice they can still perform very acceptable without eliminating the parallax shift. In this case, the scope is often said to fixed at designated parallax free distance that best suits their intended uses. Typical standard factory parallax free distances for hunting scope are 100 yard or 90 meter to make this them well to make them suited for the hunting shot that really exceed 30 yard or meter. Some composition and military style scopes without parallax compensation may be adjusted to the parallax free at a range up to 300 yard to make the better suited for the aiming at the longer ranges. Scopes for the guns with the shorter practical ranges such as air guns, rimfire rifle, shotguns, uh, and the muzzle loaders will have parallax settings for the shorter distance, commonly 50 meter or 55 yard. For rimfire scopes and 100 meter, that is 110 yard for shotgun and muzzle loader. Air gun scopes are often found with the adjustable parallax, usually in the form of adjustable objective or AO for short design that may adjust down as near as 3 meters or 3.3 yard. Non-magnifying refractor or reflex side eliminates the parallax for the distance objective by combining by using the collimating optic. Collimating optic means is a device which narrows a beam of particles of the wave too narrow, can mean either to cause the distance of the motion to become more aligned in the specific direction, okay, to the image that recital at the infinity. For objects that are not infinitely far away, eye movement perpendicular to the device will cause the parallax movement between the target and the recital image. That is proportional to how far the viewer eye is of the center in the cylindrical column of the light created by the collimating optics. Firearm sights such as the red dot sights try to connect for this by not imaging the recital at infinity but instead at designated target distance. Spherical aberration in reflector side can also cause the recent image to move with the change in the eye position. Some reflector side with the optical systems that compensate for off-axis spherical aberration are marked as parallax free. Artillery fire. Because of the position of the field and naval artillery, each gun has the slightly different perspective of the target relative to the location fire control system. When aiming the gun at the target, the fire control system must compensate for the parallax to ensure the fire from each gun converges to the target. Art. Several of the Mark Rain sculptural work with the parallax of pairing abstract oriented view from the specific angle. One such sculpture is the Darwin Gate, pictured in Shrewsbury, England, which from a certain angle appears to be from a dome, according to historic England, in the form of Sahawk's helmet with the Norman window, inspired by the feature of St. Mary Church, which was attended by the Charles Darwin Charles George drawing as a boy. View from the slanting angle of the curves on the separate angle, the curve of the three separate column of the Darwin gate appear to be done. Okay, same picture, different effect. I don't think so. Or is it? Okay, this is also first time missing it. Okay, so mm, mm, mm. Here the picture is being this bombingly dome. Same picture. Okay, sorry. Same picture was from different angle, plane of sight. It is a different. It's not like dome. Yeah, it is much longer, and this appears to be straight. This appears to be slightly shorter and more curved. Yeah, a different effect. Yeah, from a different point of view. Same thing, I think. Yeah, as a metaphor, in a philosophic geometric sense, the apparent change in the distance of the object caused by the change in observation position that provides the new line of sight. The apparent the apparent displacement or a difference of the position of the object as seen from the two different station or point of view. In the contemporary writing, the parallax can also be the same story or the similar story from approximately the same timeline from one book told from the different perspective in another book. The world and the concept feature prominently in James Joyce's 1922 novel Ulysses. Orson Scott Card can also be used also use the term when referring to Ender's shadow as compared to the Ender game. The metaphor is invoked by the Slovenian philosopher Slavoj Žižek in his 206 book The Parallax View, borrowing the concept of the parallax view from the Japanese philosopher and literary critic Kojin Karatani. Žižek notes the philosophical twist to be added to parallax, of course, is the observed distance is not simply subjective. Since same object exists out there, is seen from the two different stances or point of view. It is rather that, as Hegel would have put, subject and object are inherently mediated so that epistemological shift in the subject point of view always reflect the ontological shift in the object itself. Or to put in Lacan's, the subject gaze is already inscribed in the prescribed object itself in the guise of its blind spot, that which is in object more than the object itself, the point from which the object itself returns the gaze. Sure, the picture is in my eyes, but I am also in the picture. Slavoj Žižek, the parallax views. Okay, I got this stuff it. Yeah, and there were many things that I didn't understand. Anyway, it was a great reading. Uh, Thank you for watching. And if you have not watched, never mind. See you next time then. Bye. Okay, bye.